Go for it.
Good morning, everyone, and aloha snack bar to all of you. It's the one, the only Senor Silverback, the Magilla Gorilla of Finance, joined by the master of the Flux Capacitor and the producer par excellence on another morning editions of Rogue Money Mornings, where we bring the news, the views, and all the information that's important to you. You can check us out on roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money. Check us out also on Rogue Money Facebook, Rogue Money podcasting, Rogue Money on Apple News, Rogue Money everywhere you want us to be. You can't get away from us because we're Rogue Money. Ah! I'm bugging out, Siege. I'm bugging out.
That's right. You
Anyway,
go, man. You go.
click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know you will be alerted. Hopefully alerted when new things go up, and hit the subscribe button because you might need to hit it 20 more times. See, you know how many emails I get? I subscribe to you, but I got to subscribe 5 more times.
Yeah.
Now, folks, support us, okay? There are forces at work against us in the background. That's all I will say, okay? That's all I will say. And you all know what's going on in alt media with all the censorship and whatnot. So show your love, spread the word, and check out our sponsors: myfreedomnow.us, myfreedomnow.us. Get your credit fixed, get your debt, get yourself out of debt, and if you need money for that big investment dream you got, cryptos are ready to buy or going to get set up for another tear. You want to get into investments. You need money to play or build that dream. Check them out, myfreedomnow.us. They can get you $600,000, $600,000 unsecured. And also check out mygoldusb.com, mygoldusb.com. Did you know that 95% of the internet is unknown to most people? It's called the dark web, and it's where the party happens. You should be using it because you're missing the party, and all your activity on the surface web is being tracked and used against you by the deep state. Stop playing in the kiddie pool. Get yourself the Gold USB. Go dark online. Escape the deep state censorship and surveillance. Surf the dark web anonymously. Get military grade 1024-bit encryption and secure your crypto wallets all in one place. mygoldusb.com. With that being said, CJ, what's crack a lacking, my friend?
I need more power, V. I need more power. Trying to get.
Are you giving out all she's got, Captain?
Yeah, if you're trying to listen to our show right now on Twitter and Periscope, you're not having much luck. It's getting there, but it'll be on eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Eventually, when the
If you're on YouTube and Facebook, you're good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just got to figure out what the algos are gonna do. Because we're not in the most favored status today. We are not in the most favored status in media, so we might not get through at all. Yeah.
Exactly.
Where do you want to begin, man? Well, you want to talk about the revolving door that is the FBI? What you and I were having this conversation before we went live, when we were sipping our dark roast and doing our snack bar chants back and forth, which we ritualistically do every morning. Yeah, for those that don't know, it's every morning. People will ask, what is V and CJ's routine in the morning? Well, we get a giant cup of coffee. We sit in front of our computers. He gives me the show link. I join him on the servers in the ether of the internet, and we all snack bar at each other. That's what we do to get pumped up. Oh, man. And you said this, man. We had an interesting talk before we went live. You said, why don't we just dissolve the FBI? And I'm like, that's a brilliant idea. That's brilliant. We just get rid of it and be like, thank you. Your services are no longer needed. At the same time, let's get rid of the stupid CIA.
You know, when you think of what actual crimes has the FBI truly stopped? You know, besides putting people on lists and then watching them receive weapons and bomb making materials and waiting until something happens and then saying, hey, we were monitoring this person. Yeah. It's like a 3-ring circus right now with the FBI. And now we're learning the fact that the interim FBI director, McCabe, is currently subject to 3 inquiries in regarding to misconduct.
I love it. It turns out this guy has some sort of a personal vendetta against General Flynn, and he forgot to recuse himself, okay, from the whole entire Flynn investigation. Is that what it was, man?
Yeah,
And then sexual
again,
discrimination. I mean, what in the world?
well, yeah. So you take a look at, there's this act called the Hatch Act that, basically when you're in that position with the FBI, and it makes perfect sense. You have to put a filter on different things you can and cannot do. And everyone remembers correctly, we reported this a while back, the fact that, that his wife is involved, with politics. And during that time period, he was actually out campaigning on the stump, for her. And then you take a look to see, where her name is Jill, and the fact that she took in $500,000 from then Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe. But long story short, Terry was a long time confidant of the Clinton family, and again they brought in this huge amount of money into her campaign. So numerous factors there regarding, number one is that he should have disclosed that information. And then also in terms of, his personal vendetta, you're correct, against Michael Flynn. According to Circa, Flynn had apparently enraged McCabe a few years back after he interviewed on behalf of the FBI special agent Robin Gritz, who had accused McCabe and other FBI officials of sexual discrimination.
Yeah.
And there's currently a launch with that. So there's just so much here in regards to McCabe and his dealings. And it's just amazing that these people that are supposed to be there to help monitor, to protect, they're sitting there and they can't even comply with the laws themselves. V.
This is another incompetent moron, in other words.
Absolutely, yeah, just insane.
Oh man, why don't they? You know what they need to do is they need to do to the FBI what they need to do with the CIA. They need to really reform it. Okay, what I mean by that is this: the only person that can be an FBI director should be somebody who's been in the FBI forever, who worked himself up from that of a field agent to the position where he's in. Kind of like how it used to be, CJ, right?
Right.
Same thing with the cocaine import agency. We need to cut its budget. We need to reform that. And the only person that's allowed to be in the cocaine import agency and to really convert it to maybe go back to the OSS days, right? They need to make it so that the only people that are in the new CIA should be those with a military background. I don't need no millennial from Yale who has a degree in computer science, who's now all of a sudden he's an analyst, okay, because he's read The Atlantic and Political his entire life. Now he's an analyst, giving us wrong intel, not knowing his elbow from his butthole. I don't want guys like that in the CIA, man. I want guys who've been on the field, who've actually done things, who put lives on the line. What happens when you have civilians running the CIA? Well, you have the kind of CIA where it is right now, where it's just lunacy, it's corrupt, it's because these guys, they get off on it. These are, when you have a bunch of punk bitches who've never killed anyone in their life, who've never made hard calls, who've never done anything, and you have these punk bitches all of a sudden in positions of leadership, what occurs, okay, is you would have an overinflated ego and a sense of invulnerability and a sense of a godlike mentality, okay, that they can do whatever they want. And what occurs is atrocities. That is what happens when you have people who've never risked anything, and all of a sudden you thrust them into positions of authority. You have atrocities, and atrocities occur throughout the world because of them, okay? That's why I want somebody who has their skin in the game, who was, worked from the bottom to the top as a grunt and made it, okay? Those are the types of people who should be leading these agencies, not these civilians, because then you have dum-dums like this moron, okay? Like this idiot, McCabe, Jim McCabe, acting moron of the FBI. I mean, come on. Ridiculous, CJ.
Yeah, it is, and that type of I don't call it hiring, that type of assignment and position. Think of I personally have nothing against attorneys. I know that they're needing everything, but it's the same way.
They suck. I can't wait for half of them to go away.
But when you take a look at the DC establishment, probably more than half of the legislatures that are there are not really, anyone that's, several have actually managed and operated businesses and understand economics and how things work.
Right.
But the majority of them are attorneys, that have, for the most part, not engaged in the type of training, the type of experience that would be necessary to truly help our country.
Yep. Absolutely correct, man. Because my whole thing is that these are skeevy little conniving lawyers, and lawyers who would, want to find whatever loophole they can in order to, not, to benefit and enrich themselves. Because again, you got to remember, read Peter Schweitzer's book, Extortion, download it on your Kindle, buy it on Amazon. I'm not getting a penny to recommend it, but Peter Schweitzer's book says it best. As soon as these guys hit the floor in DC, the first thing they're doing till the time they retire is fundraising. So you look at a douchebag like John McCain. That douchebag spent the last 30, 40 some odd years in Congress, okay, in the Senate, fundraising. That's all he's done his entire life. 90% of his time is spent fundraising. The other 10% is maybe passing a law here and there. That's it. So what else do you expect, right? What else do you expect when you have a punk guy like a politician who gets in there with probably initially with all the bright intentions of the world, and then all of a sudden he gets into power, and then what happens? Well, he's all about oh my God, I need to raise more money, and now he finally tastes what $1 million feels like. Oh, this feels good. This is all I want to do the rest of my life. What's he going to do? Yeah. He's just going to be raising money his entire life. He doesn't care about you or the country. He doesn't care who he's got to sell out. You could be like that guy. What's that guy? Mitch McConnell, who sold the Bundy Ranch in Nevada on a Chinese land deal.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. That's why I said thank God Hillary Clinton didn't get elected, because that bitch would have sold us down the river. Period. Done. Why? Because she's about lining her own pockets. That's what DC does to you. That's the difference between somebody who has nothing and comes there and all of a sudden their head gets big. That's why it's a great thing to have a multi-billionaire as a president of the United States. What are you going to bribe him? He's already got money. Hey, President Trump, I'm going to pay you $5 million if you let this legislation. I mean, seriously? It's like somebody coming up to me like, I'll pay you $5. Just come on, man. Yeah. Anyway, Venezuela, bro. It seems like Nicholas the Sweetness, the bus driver Maduro, dancing the bachata, the merengue Maduro is out there, and he staged his own coup with his own personal James Bond villain, bro. What's going on? You can't write this shit right yourself, CJ.
You cannot make this stuff up, V. Just insane. So a couple of days ago, a report was coming out of an attempted coup in Venezuela.
Oh.
And yeah, so apparently as news is starting to come through, the actor that was hired to stage this coup is an actor known as a James Bond type Rambo action film star in Venezuela. So apparently a group of activists, Oscar Perez is his name, that he basically took a helicopter and attacked the Supreme Court building there, throwing grenades and shooting out the helicopter, and nobody was hurt, nobody was injured, no deaths occurred.
Oh my God.
But and the thing is that this Oscar Perez, I guess his social feed is just flooded with him like taking pictures of coming out of water, shooting like Rambo and everything, and he's an actor. And why Maduro did this, obviously everyone knows. He's trying to remain in power.
Dude, that is
just so crazy stuff. You cannot make this stuff up, V.
Nah, dude, you cannot make this stuff up. Oh my God. I mean, literally Maduro. It's bad enough Maduro, aka the Sweetness, aka the bus driver, is driving his country off the cliff. But and he's dancing the bachata and the merengue every night, and he's having all these elite parties, because again, a lowlife that's been given power doesn't know how to handle it, right? Again, it's an example, okay? Just a corrupt scumbag, communistic, self-entitled idiot, okay? Now he is dancing the high life with all these elites in Venezuela, and so he wants to make people sorry for him because everybody hates his guts. Everybody wants to kill this little turd with the mustache. He looks like Saddam Hussein. CJ, I mean, have you noticed that? Look at a picture of Saddam. I want everybody to type in Google Saddam Hussein, Nicolas Maduro, and look at the pictures. I kid you not. Saddam Hussein and Nicolas Maduro is the same person.
He could be his brother, definitely. Absolutely.
Dude, they're definitely related. I have no doubt about it. Okay. So the Iraqi, also known as Nicolas Maduro, everybody hates his guts. So they hate the Iraqi. Okay. So what does he do to make everybody feel sorry for him? Because he's a narcissist, right? He wants everybody to feel sorry for him. So he stages his own coup by hiring his own personal James Bond. I love it. It's great. Oh man! All right, let's move on to one of my favorite institutions, the Vatican. All right. What's going on?
This is breaking news. So, Vatican finance chief is charged with multiple sex offenses. Cardinal, who is third highest figure in the Catholic Church, is ordered to leave Rome and appear in Australian court over historic claims of sexual abuse in Australia. So this is, again, you take a look at the vast history. And again, this is the Pope's finance chief, third most senior cardinal in the Catholic Church, charged with historic sex offenses.
And my thing is this, man. If the third highest guy in the Vatican is charged with sex crimes, and what kind of sex crimes, CJ?
Well,
they haven't said, right?
They have not. There was a press conference, that I listened to, but they did not go into details. But obviously, when you take a look at the history, typically it involves either why they were a priest, either abusing either young boys, or girls, but they have not unveiled the specifics regarding what the charges were there in Australia.
Yeah. Okay. So if the third highest guy is involved in some sort of sexual misconduct, and I'm just gonna roll the dice here, CJ. I'm just gonna roll the dice here. Okay. If the third highest guy in the Vatican is involved in sex crimes, possibly even child trafficking. We don't know. We don't know yet. We don't know. But all I know is a lot of pedos are getting busted globally. Did Trump send the message to the Vatican that you're next? Who knows? Let's see. Let's find out. So the third highest guy is involved in this. What are the chances that the first highest guy or the highest guy, a.k.a. the Jesuit Pope Francis, a.k.a. the guy from Argentina, whom I know from sources, was heavily involved in the Vatican Bank and the shenanigans that occurred in Argentina during the upheavals that occurred there by the School of Americas, a.k.a. the Cocaine Import Agency. The money laundering and the funding a lot of that was done by the Vatican Bank. And at that time, Pope Francis, which I forget his real name. I can't even keep track of these people anymore, CJ.
Right, yeah. I can't remember his real name either.
Yeah, who was the bus riding? Be careful of bus drivers in South America. There's some people who ride buses. This guy's a bus riding. He was known as the bus riding bishop. Okay, involved in this whole entire thing. Playing the poor guy. I guarantee you. Look, Francis is criminal as they come. He's a communist. He's an atheist. He doesn't believe in God. He probably has a whole bevy of little boys that service him in the back. Who knows what? Okay, guy's a sick turd in my book. Whole Vatican, that's an institution that needs to be reformatted. Someone needs to hit the format button on there. There's no reason. Okay, you cannot call yourself a church or a religious institution when you have tens of trillions of dollars in treasures, stolen gold, stolen paintings in your vaults. You cannot call yourself a church when you're your own nation state within a city. You have your own private army. You have your own mailbox. You have your own currency. You're out of your friggin' mind. The Vatican needs to be reformatted and brought to heel. And with that being said, CJ, what is our next topic?
Well, also want to direct our listeners. There's a great new documentary on Netflix called The Keepers that details out kind of the same situation, these same type of crimes that occurred in Baltimore. And I'm about halfway through and the first couple of episodes, it was tough to stomach how these things start and how these things happen. But for our listeners, if you get a chance, go to Netflix, watch this series because it's very eye opening. To hear and see, directly from victims, and this resulted in the murder of a nun who was trying to help some of the girls that were being abused by the priest, and she ended up murdered. And to this date, it's an unsolved crime. That's why they're starting to open this up. And as these investigative citizens started to go to the press, started noting that they were going to get this documentary with Netflix, is when the Baltimore Police Department had to open up a hotline, if you will, just because the number of victims that were coming forth to say, yes, I was abused. So this type of crime goes right back to the whole pedophilia, all these things. It just disgusts me that a pastor can be, or can be in there and listening to these kids giving confession about things that have occurred in their life, and then asking them to say, hey, is it okay if I open up and take a look at you, and saying, hey, I want you to meet with me in my office because, you need to be ashamed. You need to cleanse yourself. And then how they cleanse themselves of this is by doing sexual favors on the father, on the priest, and him saying, this will help you to get the demons out. You need to do this to cleanse yourself.
Yeah, you're getting a demon out, all right. Jeez.
Get the demons. Yeah. I mean, just to hear these stories firsthand. So yeah, go to Netflix, The Keepers, and check it out.
Wow, man. Yeah, you know what? I think that has to do with Father Malachi Martin, right? He was exposing that as well.
Yeah, there were two. Yeah, there were two. And why this is important is because some of the victims came forth and stated that he was so politically involved, and his brother, I believe, was one of the higher ranking police officers in there. And the fact that city officials and officers used to come into the church and participate with these sexual abuses of these young girls.
Yeah. Wow, man. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It is. So yeah, these things need to be exposed. We need to put an end to this. And you're right. Massive reform is needed within. I have several friends that are Catholics and everything. So massive reform is needed. It's just
it's out of control, man. It really is. I mean, most Catholics are not happy with this Francis guy. This Pope Francis guy. I mean, this guy's a total left wing nut job, man. Anyway, will Qatar turn into Syria, CJ?
It's almost a joke. They keep trying to push this narrative regarding that Qatar is going to be the next Syria. Like, the deep state, these globalists do not learn their lessons from Syria. In terms of the alliances that Qatar has built with, Iran, Turkey, Russia, China, these whole deep state moves that are trying to happen. So when you read stories, when you see things like this, it's not going to happen. We're witnessing right now just a huge change, a huge pivot, and you can feel it happening throughout the globe. That these stories that came forth, these fear mongering stories about, oh yeah, there's going to be huge escalations going to happen. What are your thoughts on it, V?
Well, is Qatar going to turn into Syria? No, they're not turning it. They're not going to turn into Syria. Nobody's going to invade them. The U.S. has been put in check. Number one. Number two, is the Qatar going to turn its back on the U.S. dollar? Hell yes. But that's not a surprise to the current power structure. The entire world is turning its back on the dollar. Okay? Hello. We came into the year 2000 with 76% of global trade done in the dollar. We are at 2017. I think it's only 40 some odd percent of global trade is being done in the dollar. Is the world is turning? I mean, God, for the love of God, we're like the only alt media site that's out there talking about, and probably even media site period, talking about the new Silk Road. you know, apart from a handful of people that we know we're connected with, we're the only ones that are talking about the new Silk Road. We're the only ones talking about AIIB, the SCO, all these things. That's all turning their back on the entire world's turning its back on the dollar. Not just Qatar. What are they going to do? Invade the whole world? And plus, the globalists are put in check. They're absolutely put in check. So somebody who's reading an article like Qatar might be turning its back on the U.S. dollar, and we all know what that means. You know, when you read stuff like that, you know, where you have many in the old media saying, "Oh, they're going to," no, the cabal, the deep state is contained. It's contained. They can do little things here and there, nothing major. It's just a dust-up operation now. But no, they're not going to turn. I mean, Russia and China has already stepped in and said, "Knock it off, guys." And you know, the Saudis, they're going to knock it. They'll knock it off. Everything will be fine. I'm not worried about it.
Bingo. Absolutely.
With that being said, Siege, we're at the end of our epic broadcast. Tell them what's lined up for today.
Yeah, it's a very busy day. So we have later on at noon, Harley Schlanger's coming on for Hang with Harley, which he has. He just what country was he in again? V that he's trying to arrange an interview with us. But anyway, yeah. So he has some great information that he's going to be sharing with us. And then later on today at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we have Cuss with Gus, which, you know, our listeners just really love the unfiltered, you know, just in your face truth. And so excited for Gus to be on later on today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Cuss with Gus. I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say about CNN, man. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, and one other plug, V, real quick, and I always forget this, but roguemoney.net, check it out. James, the Russian analyst, has been working very hard the past few days, as well as Ken Shorgan Jr. Some great articles up there. And then also we posted a post from the Sirius Report from London Paul as well in regards to targeting, you know, Russia, you know, ISIS, you know, putting Russia in their crosshairs. So go check those out, roguemoney.net.
Absolutely. And with that being said, guys, check out our sponsors again, myfreedomnow.us. Get your funds, get your money. My Goal USB, go invisible and dark. With that being said, we are over and out. Take it away, CJ.